What's up, adventurers? My name is Platinum Phoenix, and welcome back to Pokemon FireRed. Last time, we went around Vermilion City as well as took on Lieutenant Surge in a gym battle. And this time, we're actually going to go around the surrounding routes and see what they have to offer. So if we just come up here onto Route 11, there's actually an Awakening here, which is a really nice item. And then we're just going to keep heading this way. And I believe I actually want to go into the grass so this guy doesn't see me. But with that being said, there's actually one new Pokemon on Route 11, and that is Drowsy. Drowsy is a defensive psychic type, meaning that it has higher defense, special defense, and HP than pretty much any other psychic type that we've seen. Drowsy also, once it evolves into Hypno, becomes a pretty decent mixed attacker. I think it has 73 in both of its attack stats, meaning it can use pretty much any attack and get at least somewhat use out of it. And that matched up with the fact that it has a pretty good TM list makes it actually a pretty decent attacker overall. The biggest downside to Drowsy, however, is that Drowsy is really slow, as well as Hypno, when it fully evolves, is also just really slow. And having a slow psychic type isn't the worst thing, except if it's slower than Gengar, because Gengar is the only real thing that has any amount of power that would be able to fight a psychic type on its true terms. So it being slower than Gengar is a pretty big downside. But with that being said, we are all the way through Route 11 already. And I just want to head upstairs because if we go up here, I believe there is Professor Oak's aide. Hi, remember me? I'm one of Oak's aides. If your Pokedex has complete data for 30 species, I'm supposed to give you a reward. Professor Oak entrusted me with the item finder for you. So, Phoenix, let me ask you, have you gathered data on at least 30 kinds of Pokemon? I actually don't know. I've been catching pretty much anything I can between episodes, so let's see. Uh-oh. You have only caught 20 kinds of Pokemon. You need 30 kinds if you want an item finder. Alright, well, I guess I'll have to come back here later once we are farther into the adventure and see if we can get that item finder. But if we head out this way onto Route 11, it goes into Route 12, and we can see that a Pokemon is sprawled out in a deep and comfortable slumber. So, this is Snorlax, actually, the Pokemon that we were talking to that guy about 2 episodes ago. And we have no way of getting it out of our way, so it is a roadblock. So, we just need to head back over to Diglett's cave. But I think I'm just going to meet you over there, so you don't have to see me walk all the way through Route 11 again. So, I'll see you there. Alright, Diglett's tunnel. Or Diglett's cave, actually. There are 2 Pokemon here, the first one being Diglett. Diglett is very fast, and when I mean very fast, I mean like extremely fast. It also has 2 abilities, but Arena Trap is definitely the better of the 2, just because it allows you to trap whatever Pokemon you're fighting against. And the other thing is, you can actually come here before you fight Lieutenant Surge, and Diglett is extremely good to use against him. It's just really strong and is a ground type to back that up, which makes it even better against Lieutenant Surge's electric types. And the only other thing to really say about Diglett is that it actually learns Earthquake through level up, which is extremely helpful because it just lets you keep your Earthquake TM without having to use it on your ground type, which is great. And the other Pokemon that can be found here is Dugtrio, Diglett's evolved form. It has everything good I said about Diglett, except it's very rare to find. It's only like a 5% chance to find here. And it's found between levels 29 and 31, which means it will by far over level everything that you're fighting up to this point, and will be actually pretty difficult to catch. But if you can catch it, it'll wreck everything for a while. But with that being said, we are out of Diglett's cave already. And I don't believe that there's anything up here. Yep, my repel roar out. I don't believe there's anything up here. I don't have the item finder because I don't have all the Pokemon I need, but according to all my clicking, there's nothing there. So we're just gonna move on and go into this house. We're actually back onto Route 2. What do you have to say? A fainted Pokemon just has no energy left to battle. It can still use moves like Cut outside of battle. So you can use what is effectively a dead Pokemon to cut down a tree. You could basically turn my Paris into an axe, is what you're saying. Great. What do you have to say? I'm looking for the Pokemon Abra. Want to trade for my Mr. Mime? Well, I don't have an Abra, but Mr. Mime is actually a pretty good Psychic type. I would say it's probably the second best Psychic type in the game. Maybe third after Jinx. But it has a really great level up and TM move pool. So it just has a lot of good moves at its disposal pretty much at all times. It also has the ability Soundproof, which just means it has a immunity against sound-based moves. So stuff like Sonic Boom, Screech, and all of those just have no effect on Mr. Mime. And Mr. Mime also is just a more defensive Kadabra, is how I would describe it. It's almost equally as powerful as Kadabra, it just can take a lot more hits. And being a Psychic type, being able to deal damage while also taking hits is a really nice quality to have. And personally, I believe that if you wanted to use Alakazam, but you could not trade with somebody, so you could only use a Kadabra, I would personally say that Mr. Mime is pretty much a better Kadabra in every way if you can't evolve it. But with that being said, the next thing we need to do is talk to this aide right here. Hi, remember me? I am one of Professor Oak's aides. If your Pokedex has complete data for 10 species, I'm supposed to give you a reward. Entrusted me with HM05 for you. So, Phoenix, let me ask you, have you gathered data on at least 10 kinds of Pokemon? Yes, I have 20. Well, 21 now. I caught a drowsy earlier. Congratulations, here you go. Received HM05, which contains Flash. Flash just lightens up dark caves, which will be extremely helpful in a dungeon that we have coming up. What do you have to say? Once a Pokemon learns Flash, you can get through Rock Tunnel. That's not entirely true. You actually don't need Flash in this game at all. If you know how to navigate Rock Tunnel is the only place in the game that has darkness. So if you know how to navigate Rock Tunnel, you can get through that whole cave without actually needing Flash. I just want to get it because, one, I have not played through Kanto a lot, so I don't know how to get through Rock Tunnel. And two, it just makes it a better viewing experience, and I prefer it looking better and me taking a little bit of time to go out of my way to get Flash and teach it to a Pokemon, rather than having to look at a map to get through a dark tunnel and basically the screen just be black for like half of an episode. But the next thing I want to do is, after you have cut and everything, you can come back to Pewter City and cut down that tree outside of the museum. And if we go inside, we can talk to this scientist. Shh, listen, I need to share a secret with someone. I think that this chunk of amber contains Pokemon DNA. It would be a shattering scientific breakthrough if a Pokemon could be resurrected from it. But my colleagues just ignore what I have to say. So I have a favor to ask. I want you to get this examined at a Pokemon lab somewhere. And we get the old amber. And I believe that's all I wanted to get from here. So we're just gonna head on out. And so that old amber does contain a Pokemon, but I'm going to wait until we actually get the ability to resurrect the Pokemon before I talk about it, for the simple fact that it's different than Kabuto and Ammonite, because Kabuto and Ammonite, you had to pick which one right there that you were getting, but you only get one old amber and you don't have to pick. So it just makes more sense for me to talk about it when we actually get access to it. But with that being said, I think that is a good place to end this episode. So I hope that everyone enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Next time, we're actually going to be heading east out of Cerulean City now that we have the cut HM. The cut and Flash HM, actually. But until then, happy adventuring.